Hello everyone. Today we're going to do another subject of debunking anti-communists. This is in response of one of our followers. With that, I'll turn the subject to my grandson Tristan. Go ahead, Tristan.
All right, thank you. So this argument was actually sent in by a viewer of the channel, and this argument was kind of postulated by the viewer's brother. So they asked us to respond to this argument, so that's what we're doing today. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So the argument in question is, under communism, who would want to be a garbage man, right? Who's going to do the dirty jobs that, capitalist regimes, they seem to have, a good time assigning people to and having people do. Now, I'd argue that this argument is kind of flawed, first of all, because, I don't think under any society, even under capitalism, somebody would want to be a garbage man. What I assume the argument is trying to get at is, who under communism would do, the dirty jobs, which that's the argument that we're going to be responding to, because I feel like the other version of the argument would be, well, no one would want to be a garbage man, but, someone has to do it anyway, regardless of whether or not you want to do it. But anyway, in a communist society, jobs would function a lot different than how they would in a capitalist society, in the sense that a government that is controlled by the people would assign jobs to the people, right? And these jobs, they would work in a kind of strange function. Essentially, no one would have the same job for their entire life, right? Because priorities change in a society, right? Sometimes, let's say there's a shortage on metal and producing of metal, then obviously we're going to need a lot more people to produce metal and study metallurgy. Now, let's say there's a shortage on crops, then we're going to need a lot more farmers, et cetera, et cetera. Now, these problems would also come about in a communist society, right? But since there's only a limited amount of people, basically a communist society would assign people jobs for a limited amount of time, and these jobs would essentially work in a rotation. So think of jobs in a communist society kind of like a chore wheel. You spin the wheel and somebody gets assigned to do a chore, right? And nobody has to do the same chore, eternally for the rest of their life. There's kind of a rotation between what chore or what job you have to do, right? So let's say, a random subsect, let's say, we have a trash problem in a communist society. A lot of trash is building up, a lot of waste is building up. Then the government would say, okay, well, there's a trash problem. Let's get a lot more people to deal with that trash. So essentially, people who are working in a sector that has a good amount of product in it or an overproduction, the government would assign an amount of those people, a number of those people working in that sector where, the product or the service that is being produced is, fine, there's no problems with it. And they would redirect that amount of people to be garbage men, essentially. Now,
basically, everyone shares the responsibility.
Yeah, everyone shares the responsibility.
Yeah.
And Marx, he kind of summed up the system by saying that you can be a garbage man in the morning, be a fisherman in the evening, and be a critical theorist at night. So basically, jobs are kind of shared in rotation by people in a society, depending on what jobs need to be done most at a certain period of time. So yeah, that would basically wrap up the video, wrap up the subject in general. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.